Hello, and welcome to another video course on the Miraf SongBook program. In today's episode, we'll look at how to work with the database, perform various sorting, arranging, and data export, import tasks. So let's get started. Here, we have your database, which has many columns, and all these columns can be edited here in the Song Editing tab. We talked about this in one of the previous video courses, and now we'll demonstrate how to work with the entire database. You can create new databases, delete old ones, make copies and clones of the databases, and transfer data between them. For example, I'll create a new database here, which will be named Miraf. As you can see, I now have an empty database, and at the moment, there are no songs in it. I'll now switch back to my test database, where you can see that I do have songs. Next, we'll show how to move songs around. There is a tool for this in the Database tab under Export, Import, Sort. When I open this program, it asks me whether I want to move all the songs that are currently in the database or just selected songs. I'll choose to move all of them, and you can see that all the songs have been moved to this left section. Here, I have the current database I'm working with and have selected, and over here, I have an empty list or another database that I choose here. So, I'll now open my newly created empty database. You can see that it only contains that one song, which is currently empty. I can transfer songs into the database. For example, I can select some songs using Control and then click this arrow icon, which is Copy. I've now transferred the songs to the new database. I can delete the empty one using the Delete button to keep things organized. Alternatively, you can select an entire block of songs and transfer them over just as easily. The first icon is for copying, while the second one is for moving. Moving means the songs will be removed from the original database and transferred to the new one. The next icon is for deleting songs, and the last one allows you to change the internal IDs of the songs. You can change the internal IDs this way. We'll discuss these internal IDs more in another video course. On the right side, you have the same options for selecting songs, copying them back to the original database, or moving them. For instance, I'll move these songs back to the original database. You can delete songs from the database here. This allows you to move songs between the current database and another one easily, and you can transfer songs back from any other database to the current one. It's important to always correctly save the specific database. Use the Save icon here to save the current database, or Save as to give it a new name. It's very important to distinguish which database you are saving to avoid transferring songs to a different database, then accidentally saving it without the songs, and losing your data. Be careful when deciding which database to save. You can also choose to click using the mouse, Shift plus mouse, or Control plus mouse for selecting songs. You can also enable the option to select songs without holding Control, which allows you to click randomly, and the songs will be selected. If you want to exit this module without saving, for example, without saving your current work but only a different database, click the cross here. The program will ask if you want to save, and you can choose not to save the new database, returning to the program. If you choose to save, the current database will be displayed. As mentioned before, you can also transfer only selected songs in the Export-Import module. For example, I'll select only the bottom songs and open the Export-Import module. The program will ask if you want to transfer all or just the selected songs. I'll choose the selected ones, but now be very careful. If you save the database now, it will only contain the selected songs, which means you would lose the others that were in the sample database. Be very cautious when overwriting your current database to avoid losing any data. As mentioned, you can create new databases, open existing ones, and save them as new databases. If you make any changes to the database, such as a new edit and then refresh, the database will appear in red, indicating it is unsaved. You can save it using the Save button, the Ctrl+S shortcut, or by saving it here. You can also save it as a different database. For example, you can save sample database into sample2 to make a backup or a copy, and now you'll see two identical databases. This allows you to easily switch between databases. You can also refresh the list of databases. Now, let's demonstrate that you can work with a database as an individual file. I'll switch to the file manager where the program is installed, and here in the database folder, you can see your databases. If you copy this database to another computer's database folder, you'll be able to use it with another program. So, you can transfer databases as individual files. If you copy a new database into the program's database folder, you can refresh the list of databases, and it will automatically appear. You can also revert all recent changes made to the database. Let's say I make several changes, such as deleting the bottom songs. I've deleted these songs from the database, and now I can save it, but I would lose the songs. So, I can undo this action, and the program will load the previous unsaved database. You also have the option to delete databases. A window will open where you can delete a database, but you can never delete the current one. For example, I'll delete this one, click Delete, confirm the action, and you'll see that only the two remaining databases are now listed. You can also sort from the database and export various columns. So, here you can export the textual information of your columns. These are the columns you have in the database. I'll enlarge it like this. You can export these columns in text format, for instance, if you want to process them further in Excel or another program. Additionally, you can export the information to HTML and export a list of songs. So, you can click here, and for example, I'll save them to a file. I'll save this file, and if I go back to the folder where I exported it, in the TXT tab, you can see that the list has been exported, and when I open it, the list of songs appears. So, you can easily export either the entire list of songs or just selected songs. In the database, you can also perform replacements. You choose the replacement option, specify the text to find, and what to replace it with, and the program will go through the entire database and replace the specified text. The program also allows you to batch edit file paths. Each song can have an associated audio file, MIDI file, or an additional file, and in this way, you can replace file paths. For instance, if you have absolute paths, reinstall the computer, and on the new computer, the directory is different. You won't need to correct each path manually. Here, you can set the old path and the new path, click OK, and the program will replace all file paths according to the current directory. As mentioned earlier, it's recommended to use relative paths instead of absolute ones, which was discussed in previous video tutorials. You can also make bulk changes to specific columns. For example, for selected songs, you can change the artist in bulk, modify different notes, adjust ratings, fill in a column, and so on. You can also insert various number sequences into different columns. This is useful for sorting and organizing. Let's demonstrate. I'll select this song, this one, and specify that I want to use the custom column 1 to input, for instance, the release year of the song. So, I'll make a bulk change. I'll set it to modify column 1 and specify the year as 2024. Click OK, and you'll see that for all the selected songs, the specified text has been added. Similarly, I can add a note here. I'll select all the songs like this, and in the note column, I'll input a note stating that it's performed by the band Miraf, click OK, and the text, Miraf, has been added to all of them. Such bulk changes can be applied. Let's also demonstrate inserting a sequence. So, in the note field, I'll add a sequence, for instance, from 1 to 10. The first will be 10-1, with 5 digits. You set the number of digits here. I'll say 5, and here I'll specify the starting number as 1, and you'll see the sequence is inserted, useful for sorting. If I were to rearrange the songs, I won't mention that. Additionally, you can sort the songs in the database by clicking on any column. For instance, if I click on the title, you'll see that the songs are sorted alphabetically. I can also sort by the number I entered in this column. When I click here, you'll see the songs are sorted accordingly. You can sort songs by any column here, and you can save the order to the database. If you choose this program setting and specify that the database should be sorted by ID, it will sort according to the defined ID. However, if you uncheck this option, the database will be saved in the current order. So now, if I save it, it will be saved, for example, by song title. When I click Save, the song is saved in that order. If you hold Shift and click another column, the database will sort first by this column, then by the other. You can see a small arrow indicating the sorting order. An arrow pointing down indicates descending order. You can perform bulk deletions in the database, so if I select these songs, choose Batch Delete, I can specify what to delete. For instance, I'll remove the note I added to the selected songs, confirm, and you'll see the information has been deleted. If I decide to delete the date for these marked songs, I can choose column 1, confirm, and the data is removed. Thus, you can perform both bulk replacement and deletion across various columns in the program. You can also adjust the width of individual columns to default, optimal, minimal, or custom sizes. For instance, if I select optimal, the program will adjust to display the columns as best as possible. I can also manually resize columns, save the database, and this configuration will be remembered next time. To retain this layout, ensure you enable Remember Window Layouts in the settings. The program also allows selecting all songs and other additional items. It's possible to detect duplicate songs. Clicking will show that there are no duplicates, but if there were any, the program would list them. This is useful for cleaning up large databases with thousands of songs. You can also check if any associated files are missing. Each song can have an attached audio file or any other file. Here, you can verify whether all attached files are present. When I click, it indicates that all files exist and are in order. In the database, you can also check for any missing images. The program just told me that everything is fine. You can also copy your audio files and attached files. I have several files attached in the database, and I can select any of them to copy to a different folder. This is useful if, for example, you want to copy some music files for a musician friend. You can select the specific files in the program, choose which ones you want, and click Copy. The program will ask for the folder where you want to copy the files, and it will create copies of the selected files. You can do the same for attached files and even for MIDI files. In the database, you can also choose to display the song ratings directly in the specific columns. When I enable this option, you can see that the columns get colored based on the rating I assigned to each song. For example, if I select this first song and set its rating to 5, you'll see it gets highlighted with the corresponding color. If I change the rating to 5 or 1, you'll notice the song is marked accordingly. This feature lets you view the ratings for each song in the database. In the Statistics tab, you can also see how many songs have a rating of 1, 2, the overall ratings, and other details like the total number of songs in the database. It provides an overview of the ratings, or you can enable and disable the ratings display directly within the database. Now, I'll turn it off and return to the original view. I'll save the database now. In this Song tab, you have additional options. Adding a new song and editing songs were covered in some of the previous video tutorials, and of course, you can also delete a specific song directly from the database. For example, I can select this song that I no longer need, choose Delete, and confirm when the program asks if I really want to delete it. If the song includes any attached files, the program will ask if you want to delete the attached file as well. You can also add songs from a file, which we covered in earlier video tutorials, as well as bulk song imports. There's a separate video tutorial dedicated to this. You can import the database from an XML file. An XML file can contain a large number of databases and songs, which you can import. This tab is more suited for advanced users who understand exports and imports, but you can use it to import songs from a different program that supports exporting in XML format. You can define how the tags in your XML file correspond to the program's format. For example, you can open an XML file from a URL. I'll enter a URL provided as an example, which is functional and users can try it out. When I import the database, you can see that the databases load from this online source. You can either open a file or import directly from an online XML file. You can also set up how the tags are named in the XML file. If importing from our program Miraf SongBook, leave the default settings. But if importing from another program, you must adjust the tags to match those in the original file. You can also decide whether to modify the tags to fit the format used by Miraf SongBook. After importing the songs, you can choose to add them to the existing database or create a new one. For instance, I'll create a new database called Sample3, save it, and when I check, I have the Sample3 database with the imported songs. The import works for both XML files and the Android applications format. To transfer your database from Android back into the program, you can do so through this import process, choosing the Android Miraf SongBook format. Keep these parameters as default, since that's how Miraf SongBook processes them. You can also import from the Quart Pro format, importing one specific song at a time. There's an option for exporting and importing data to a cloud server, which is explained in a separate video. You can also open a temporary audio file to listen to, or play an additional MIDI file. You can save a specific song as a file, allowing you to share it with others or back up a single song. For instance, I select the song, Great Time, click Save, and the program asks if I want to save it. Now I have saved the song as a file. If I then choose Insert Song from File and select the same song file, I can re-import it. The program notifies me that the file already exists, but I can import it with a new ID, and now you can see I have it twice. I'll select and delete the duplicate from the database. If the song has an attached file, the program will ask if I want to delete the file. I can choose to keep the file while removing the song from the database. You can also export selected songs to XML format for use in other programs or further processing. You have two options. Export with or without the tags, meaning either including the tags or just plain text. A significant tab is for exporting songs specifically for the Android application. While manually transferring databases is possible, using the cloud server is the recommended approach, which is covered in detail in a dedicated video. I can save a database in AMSB format, move it to the Android device's database folder, and it will be available on Android. However, as mentioned, using the cloud server is advised. You can also export to PDF, RTF, or other text formats, which we have demonstrated in the print module, including batch printing or printing individual pages. There's one more setting related to the database. You can enable automatic backups to a temporary file, for instance, every 15 minutes. So, if your computer crashes, your work will be saved periodically. If I look at the directory where your databases are stored, you'll see files with a $sign prefix. These are temporary backups. If you lose any unsaved work, or if your computer crashes, you can rename one of these temporary files by changing the extension to db2, removing the $sign, and giving it a proper name to use it as a regular database again. These files are temporary backups, allowing you to restore your work, and you can identify them by the date they were saved. This serves as an additional safeguard. We will discuss backups in detail, as they are essential, and it's crucial to back up all your work. Thank you for watching and goodbye.